The sound of whispering voices drifted through the long hall leading from the kitchens to the great hall of Ashmark Castle. John Ruslan carefully balanced a tray atop his hands and wove in and out of the silent, bustling kitchen staff. Lord Uros had appointed John to be his cupbearer, and John did not want to disappoint in his new position. In a way, moving throughout the kitchens felt much like training with the sword to him. He moved his feet expertly and saw every action before it unfolded. If you cannot anticipate your enemy, you will hear the strangest song. These were Lord Uros's words to him, and it had proved itself true over and over for him. John approached the wooden door separating the scullery from the great hall and gave it a soft push. The door scraped softly on the stone floor of the hall, and the sound of the conversation inside increased. The men at the high table paid no mind to the young squire as he approached their table set upon a dais. The four knights were all leaned in close around the end of the table where the lord's seat was placed. Though there were places set for each man, none of them were seated. Rather, they all crowded around a map hastily unrolled on the table, pointing and speaking in turn. If we march on Glidadel without the forces of Thurok, we cannot guarantee that we will be able to defeat them before the first men unite against us again, Dickon Langhorn was saying, leaning over the lord's right shoulder. Our men are tired of waiting, Edric interjected, standing behind his friend Dickon. The men and you, Dickon retorted sarcastically, a hint of a grin on his face. Varric Uros did not look up from his map. His brilliant emerald eyes scanned the parchment before him without a trace of what he might be thinking. After a long pause, the lord spoke. What say you, Sir Lionel? Lionel Redhorn hesitated, and Dickon appeared to scoff, though John might have simply been imagining the action. It was well known that Lionel was no friend of Sir Langhorn or Sir Delmar. The companions had united under the glory of war, but the feelings between them were hardly cordial. What is this here? Lionel asked, pointing to a place on the map John could not quite see as he placed Lord Uros's horn of wine beside the group. Is that meant to designate a pass in the mountains? Varric gave an audible sigh, a frustrated noise that made John start and stop in his tracks. These are the worst maps I've ever seen. In a single move, he crumpled the map up and tossed it behind the group. It's useless to plan anything without proper maps. The knights shuffled to their seats, unwilling to offer anything to Uros before the lord had calmed down. John took this as his opportunity to leave and return to the scullery. Moving quickly down the hall, he slid into the kitchen full of excitement. At a small table in the corner of the room, 4 young boys reclined in their chairs, empty plates and flagons scattered before them. Roger and Braun were laughing bodily at something John was certain was inappropriate. Titus was picking his teeth with the sharp end of a chicken bone, gesturing to Hyatt to indicate John's presence. Why do you look like you've just seen Elaine coming out of the bath again? Hyatt asked, grinning as the other boys erupted in laughter. John smiled, still holding the door behind him. Lads, I think our time to shine is coming. Are you ready? Welcome to our first administrative episode, and the reason I bring that up is because today's going to be just a little bit different, because we have just taken Thurok, this county to the very north of Ashmark, our second county in our little expedition. We have Glitterdale next. That's the county we're actually going to take away right as soon as we have the ability to. We could probably do it now. Their total, including their levy, is about 1,200 men. The only issue is once we get to the point where we have, or we declare war, there's going to be a coalition that forms to stop our invasion, and they're going to start marching. And those are pretty big armies. So it makes more sense for us to wait till we have the combined force of Thurrock so that we can do the war a little bit quicker. Because we're not going to be able to stand up against some of the larger armies that are around us. We are going to have to bite and scrap and fight our way through and be intelligent about it. So we've got about a year before the new administration nerfing, the recently conquered nerfing goes away from Thurrock, which is fine. We can handle it. March 18th. It is currently April 10th, the year before all of that happens. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write out the year. We currently have this patrol post being built, and it's taken a little bit, but it'll happen it'll finish construction right before Thurrock is available to have its levies raised. So that's our goal. We're going to get to that point today. We also are going to begin the process of our eugenics program and potentially fill our court with affluent and exceptional individuals is probably the best way to say that. Mostly by means of their congenital traits. That's what'll separate them. And even if I have to pay them a little bit, I think it might be worth it for us to pursue that, because what it comes down to is we want exceptional individuals to occupy the kingdom that we're forming. Now, we're a ways off from forming the kingdom, obviously, but we want more than anything for the individuals that are placed within this kingdom to have the highest exceptionability of anybody in the world. And through a somewhat of a eugenics program, we are going to begin the process of breeding congenital traits into each generation that's subsequent from this one. And like you say, it's the ultimate in having a having a good country when it's not just the leadership that are strong, it's everybody that is strong and worthwhile. If everybody believes in this cause that we have and pushes forward with us together, then we have the ability to make something great. And so that's what I'm going to introduce you to today. I'm going to introduce you to the eugenics program that we have. I'm going to introduce you to kind of my theory behind it, why we're doing it, what we're doing it with. And then we are going to kind of begin the process of filling up the courts of some of Varric and some of our barony level titles. Not that we have any here, but we do have, well, I guess that is only a city. Okay. Well, we'll start filling up the courts of Thurrock maybe at the end of this episode with some of those individuals as well. So this is going to be a fun episode. I'm excited, and let's go ahead and let's get into it. It looks like Master Wendell has made the proper choice here. My lord, I will of course obey your will and convert to the faith of the Seven. Henceforth consider me a true believer and faithful bannerman. Signed in the sight of the gods, Master Wendell. So, Wendell, welcome to the faith. Very glad that you could join us. So that it actually converts pretty much the entirety of this county right here to being faith of the Seven, which is fantastic. So what I decided that I'm going to do, and what's most important, is I'm going to have my septon proselytize right here in Ashmark and allow that to just kind of become a hub and make sure it completely converts to Faith of the Seven. Because now both of the rulers in Thurrock are Faith of the Seven, I don't have to worry about it there necessarily. But once and the majority of my court is Faith of the Seven. I think the only ones that are not are the ones that were invited to help fill up the council. This guy and this guy. Actually, he is Old Gods. And then there should be one other one as well. Yeah, Miles, the Justicar, right here. So, yeah, that just... and it kind of goes without saying that it makes more sense for us to have the ability to have a completely converted Ashmark, so that it's no longer old gods, and then branch out from there. But that's going to be the main duty of our septon, our priest throughout the game, is to proselytize, as long as we're Varric and he has that sort of zealous mentality, and really convert the entire county to Faith of the Seven before we go. Now, you guys gave me a great insight into what you believe to be the alternative. If they deny, so the majority of people said imprisonment was the way to go, which is funny because that is essentially like boosting tyranny. And so I don't know if you guys want me to offset that. That really wasn't posed. So leave a comment down below and let me know if there's a refusal, if a vassal refuses to convert to Faith of the Seven, and I do go to imprison them, is there some way to kind of reverse the effect of the tyranny? Or should I just allow the tyranny to build up? And I'm really not interested in doing that. I don't feel like Varric's a tyrant necessarily. He's ruthless in his pursuit of, having the Faith of the Seven spread, but I don't feel like he's a tyrant. And that's a recipe for getting killed very young. So, but I leave it to you. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. And let me take you through a little bit of my process for this eugenic style program. So I have these filters loaded in, and I'm going to go ahead and just erase this. I've been kind of searching through. My typical process is I do anybody who is not a ruler, is in diplomatic range, and will join my court, but that turns up 0 results because there's no opportunity. Nobody wants to join the court of a Faith of the Seven man, because Faith of the Seven is not that prevalent in the world right now. It is dominated by old gods, and so they have kind of this aversion to coming to court. So it makes more sense for us to take in people who actually want to come to court. I want to look at this though really quick. There are some people that will come to court without congenital traits, and that's good to know because we need some of these, especially young ladies. As I was going through and searching, all of the people that had congenital traits and would come to court if I paid them are all men. There's one woman that has a congenital trait that'll come to court, and we'll bring her in. But really, I'm going to kind of limit myself because it's going to be 15 gold every time we do this. So I'm going to limit myself to 5 right now. So I'm going to try to get as many of the genius and quick people in first, and then I'll start reaching out. I'm going to include one strong person, and that's the only female that has a congenital trait. But this is a good resource because there are some Faith of the Seven people who will come to court here, and some of them are women and they are young, which is good because they will be good partners for the people that we're about to bring in. So let's see. Oh, they look like 2 of them are slaves though. Let's do not imprison. Will that remove the... It won't remove the slaves, okay. So let's go ahead and invite Tiona. Let's not invite Shella because she is enslaved. Same thing with Lythene, she's enslaved. Lyanne Brax is a little too old for us to really make use of. Liana is enslaved. Jane is enslaved. Ilaria, Stone Dornish, she'll come to court. I don't know why she exists with Stone Dornish. They typically don't appear till much later in this bookmark. So she's an option to invite to court. Alison, here we go. Here's a good one. We only need a couple. Okay. So that was 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which is fine, because we are going to invite 5 right now, I think is where we want to be. So let's change this to any. And while we're going through this, I'll kind of explain a little bit of my thinking and the things that we've done in the House Bear series that have made sense and that have kind of presented themselves, okay? So when you have a person with a trait, when you have a person that has a congenital trait and you invite them to your court and you marry them and then they start producing children, you have you have certain percentage chances of those traits being passed down. It's better if both parents have a congenital trait because the chances of it being passed down are increased. It's especially great when you marry them together with the same trait. But there is one wild card in all of this, and that is attractive. And so I'm going to look and see if there's anybody that will come to court that has this trait. Aethelmere will, but he's 33 and he's male, obviously. Trying to see if there are any women that are available that will come to court if I pay them. They will not. Okay. That's okay. We'll deal with that. So actually, let's look up genius. So attractive plays in by increasing the chance of the congenital trait in question. Typically, it's quick or genius of being passed down. It's actually a higher percent chance. Can't tell you what the exact figure is there. I haven't tested it to that extent. But visually, anecdotally, it seems like that plays a part. So that will weigh into the decision as well. But basically the point of this program is to begin to produce children naturally in our court and in our kingdom that have these congenital traits and are thus superior to those around, or to those in other countries. It also, this is kind of a twofold action. If we're inviting them to our court, they're not in anybody else's court. So if we want to fill our court with these great characters, with these guys that have these exceptional traits and these exceptional stats, and that prevents them from being, great commanders or great council members or great houses further on down the line for other countries. So one of the ones that we're going to invite is this guy, Simmons. He's 27. He's a great eminence. He has the genius trait. He's also an erudite, which is good. He's diligent and charitable and ruthless. He kind of seems like a knockoff Veracruz, if you ask me. But he'll take 15 gold as a bribe, and then he will come to court. So that is one. And we have a good person for him to marry. We should be all set up there. Let's see. The other guys that were geniuses, 37 and 31. So we're not going to do that. If we can avoid it. Let's look at quick. For men, it's not as big of a deal. Women have a reproductive age of 45. That's the maximum age that they can have kids. And that's set up by the base defines file. You can actually change that if you want. But it's not, I haven't. There's no point in doing it. It mirrors real life, so why would I change it? So we have Garrett, who is 27. We will send him a gift and invite him to court. Similarly, we have John and Dennett. Let's see. Content, shy, brave, gluttonous, I think let's go with Dennett. He's a little bit younger. He has the content trait, so he's not going to try to, like, usurp anything. Okay, that's good. And these guys might not stick because I'm going to demand their religious conversion once they arrive. So that's 2 to marry the women that we have coming in. We'll do 1 more, and then we'll invite the strong woman as well. And then I'll explain to you why I believe strong is one of the best traits that you could possibly have. Raymond, I know you're lustful, but if you start having kids in our court, that's okay, because you'll spread your quick trait a little bit there. All right, so let's look up strong, and I'll explain to you why this is so important. Strong not only increases the amount of martial one has, or the dual skill estimate of one as well. Where's this girl that I was looking at earlier? There she is. Oh, she's a slave. Gosh, I didn't see that. Okay. Yeah, there's no chance. Okay, well, not sure what to do about that then. Instead, let's let that be the beginning stages. I'll still explain to you why strong is so important. Strong not only adds martial, it also adds health, and it adds 1 health to you. And so whenever you're playing with, especially with Reaper's Due, the DLC Reaper's Due, it adds in so many of these diseases and plagues that having high health is super important. If you go look at the House Bear series, you'll see that, like, I would say it's probably 75%, maybe even higher, of the members of House Bear that have died of disease, and it not of old age, not in battle, not murdered, not by plots, by disease. And that strong trait is very desirable for health, because it's so hard to determine what your health actually is until you don't have enough of it. And so strong is a really important trait to start breeding in if we can, because it's only good stuff. It's only good things that can come from it, and there is very little negative result of trying to bring it in if we can. So that is going to be something that we pursue in the near future, because that is something that's kind of high up on the priority list. Staying alive is one of those things that you want to do. It's one of the outcomes that you find most desirable. You know what I mean? So we've invited 2 eligible ladies and 2 men as well, I believe. And we may have invited a 3rd. I don't really have an eligible bachelorette for him, but we'll see. We'll see who comes in. The point is to populate. And that's the most important outcome that we could possibly get from this, is that we populate Ashmark, not only the county, but eventually the High Lordship, and then eventually the double High Lordship, and then eventually the kingdom, and then eventually the empire, with these great individuals. The new courtiers are starting to roll in, which is very good. We can start to take a look at this. Demand religious conversion. He's not going to like us too much because of it, but that's okay. Let's do it. And now we have this guy, Dennett, who is coming in. Demand religious conversion. If they don't accept, they can leave. Alison. I can't demand her religious... Oh, she's already in. She's already faith to 7 and all. Okay, that's fine. Simmons. Demand religious conversion. And she's already faith to 7, so we're good. Alright, this guy, Garrett, is refusing to abandon. So we're going to ask him to leave. Good. Dennett has converted. Look, and then our humble Septon has sent us this raven. My liege, I am pleased to report the success of my mission to Ashmark. The majority of the population has been converted to the faith of the Seven Faith. Your humble Septon Christian. Excellent. So we get a little bit of piety from this. Let's see. Please report that your current subject, Priest Gaston of Ashmark, interesting, has converted to the faith of the Seven. This is one of the guys that, like, refused to do it. Good for him. Praise the Mother. Your humble Septon Christian. So this guy actually has the... Does that change it from the Godswood to the Sept? It did. Look. It changed it. So this was the Godswood of Ashmark, but because the holder is Faith of the Seven now, it's a Sept. So good for him. Good for him. And then look, Simmons making the right choice. I will of course obey your will and convert to Faith of the Seven. Henceforth consider me a true believer and faithful bannerman. Signed in the sight of the gods, Simmons. So fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and arrange a marriage for Simmons, and let's see. Let's go ahead and do Tiona for him. And then Garrett is the next guy, right? No, Garrett is the one we kicked out. Dennett is the right guy. Here we go. Arranged marriage. We'll go ahead and marry him to Alison. He's a poor fighter, so we're not going to knight him. What about our other guy? Where's our other guy here? Simmons. He's a skilled fighter, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grant a knighthood to him. Knighthood. Your courtier Simmons has proven himself to be a fine warrior. You have him kneel before you and proceed to tap his shoulders with your sword. Simmons of Ashmark, in the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the young and innocent. In the name of the maid, I charge you to protect all women. In the name of the seven, I charge you to be just and honorable. Rise, Sir Simmons. So a knighthood has gone over to Sir Simmons, which is fantastic. He is a skilled fighter's not bad, for sure, and he just converted to Faith of the Seven. So things are looking up for him. His opinion's only going to climb of us, I think. That demanded conversion is going to be tough for 5 years, but that's okay. We can deal with that. So that's essentially the ploy of the eugenics program, and I do air quotes. I don't know why you can't see me, but I say that because we're having these guys with great traits produce children in our court. That is all the eugenics program is. And these children will become the next generation that will lead Ashmark and this expedition for Veraguro. So we want as many positive characters involved with this as possible. So, but yeah, that's essentially what the gist of it all is. And now we continue. The recent conversion of the location, that's Ashmark, to Faith of the Seven has caused great unrest in the unfaithful parts of your realm. Both noble and peasant alike feel threatened. So Master John Thor and Master Lister. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if they end up converting or not. They definitely hate us. Did I invite this guy too? I did. Whoops. Demand religious conversion. Let's see what he does. Alright, he converted. Fantastic. And he's a trained fighter, so we're going to go ahead and knight him too. It doesn't do us any harm for us to knight these guys. It only increases their opinion of us. So, you have Raymond kneel before you, and proceed to tap his shoulders with your swords. We say the words, Rise, Sir Raymond. Fantastic. And now we need to marry him. And we do have a eligible bachelorette, but she is currently imprisoned, is she not? Mariah? Isn't she one of our prisoners? Oh, no, it's Moira. I was like, I don't know about that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's arrange marriage. just so we can get that trait being produced as quickly as possible. And before you say anything, yes, I noticed they both have the double chin going on. I'm not going to say anything about it. It's not important. It's not important. So all 3 of these guys actually are eligible bodyguards, and that'll fill up these slots, so that'll be good. All of those slots are filled up. That's good. Fantastic. All right, things are on the rise. So let's continue forward. And hopefully I didn't invite anybody else to court. I believe Helia has been in your custody for too long. I hereby offer to pay the ransom to secure your release. I trust you will accept this fair offer. So yes, I accept your offer to release your mother. Okay, everybody, it looks like patrol posts have finished being built in Ashmark. And let's go ahead and take a look and see what our... How much did that increase our levy? Only slightly, but still, I mean, that's pretty good. It also increased our garrison size. Yeah, we only got 50 heavy infantry from it, but that's okay. We can deal with that. Let's go ahead and begin construction of let's see. I'm interested in doing the castle town only because it increases the tax income, and money is going to become kind of an important factor going forward. We have the coin right now that we can use to fund that. Let's wait a minute. Let's wait a minute to do that because I want to keep us above 100 gold, and that'll put us just underneath it. So let's wait a minute to do that. We can leave ourselves a little bit of a buffer, but we only have a couple of days left until this, until the recently conquered modifier goes away for Thurrock, which is good. Only have a couple of days left, and then we'll be able to actually give it to the ruler who will hold it for a little while. Let's reload that. 64.79, that's what that is. It's weird. Let's give it a couple more days. It still has it, that's funny. Am I not, I'm reading that right? 18 March, 64.79. And then it should start regaining some of the stuff that associated with it. Maybe. There we go. There we go, it had to tick over to the new month. It still has the new administration modifier for another... It has it for another 10 years. That's ridiculous. I wonder if I send... Let's see... Interesting. I'm not sure exactly which one of the counselor jobs would help that. I thought maybe pacify Providence, but not really. Interesting. Not sure. Anyway, so it makes sense for us to go ahead and give this County of Thurrock to the person who will hold it until at least we can get him to be a High Lord. Sir Edric Delmar is going to be the one that holds. He actually wants to tame a dragon. Good for you, Edric. Good for you. First you want to kill him, and now you want to hold on to him. Castle of Thurrock is officially Edric's, and he can come back as our chief general, even though I believe he can, right? He should be able to. He becomes our vassal, correct? Why is he not our vassal? Oh! I can't do that. I did not know that. I did not know that. Wow, that's funny. Okay, so let's go. Let's give this back to I'm a dork, right? Say it with me. Say it with me. Vaylor's a dork. So I gotta wait till I have the High Lordship before I can do that, of course. Obviously. Oh, come on now. For real. Okay, so I gotta move Edric back to our court. There we go. Yup, there we go. That's better. That's better. We'll give it, that'll actually become Edric's once we have, once we conquer Glitterdell. But that is next on our list. I'm actually gonna give this a little bit of time. What can we do to increase the levy reinforcement rate? We could send Dickon to pacify the province. Let's do that. Master Arms, Edric Delmar. We can send Edric to train troops. And that looks like it in terms of levy reinforcement rate. So let's do that. Let's give this some time and see what outcome we can manage.